Hi Virgo, welcome to your end of February 2022 general tarot reading. It's Raina here. So I'm recording this on the full moon in Leo, which is happening in your 12th house. So that should be interesting because that is, and this is the card for the 12th house, Neptune, Pisces. Because it's, otherworldly. It's not this thing, but it is a water house. There might be secrets coming out here. We have some cards that might relate to that in some way. And there's your card, the Hermit. I'd like you to see the names. Okay. So the heart of the matter is the hangman. So it can feel like the sense of being in suspension, maybe in between two situations. There's so many times when I know that we feel that way. Maybe we're waiting for our new life to happen. But we're still in this old life. And of course, if that's the case for you, you still have to do the day-to-day thing of just living life. As Eckhart Tolle says, the present, what does he call it? The present moment awareness. Because a lot of people, they're just always focused on the future or absorbed in the past, and those kinds of things lead to emotions that are not constructive, and yet this can feel almost like you can't do anything because it's like your hands are tied or something like that. And so, like for instance, if you are laid off from work, but you are still tied to a certain company, and you don't feel like you can just, if you were to work someplace else, it would be like quitting or something. And you don't really, you feel like you're, between a rock and a hard place, or there's just something that feels like you're stuck, but it's not like that. It's not just being in a rut. It's being in this in-between state. When I think of relationships, I think of somebody who is telling you things that might not be true. So the classic example is the person who's saying that they are leaving their spouse, and you're just waiting for it. In the past position, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and queens can be mothers. Whether it's your own mother is one thing, or in-law, but if you're with someone who is married or involved with somebody who has children, then this is oftentimes what is used as an excuse and saying, well, I have children. I can't just walk out. I have to wait. They'll say something like, I want to wait until the spring break or the summer vacation, because right now that would really screw up that would upset them too much. And there's always some excuse for that. Or she is a stay-at-home mother and I have to support her and I don't have the money. I'm going to have the money in 6 months, or because I hear these things, and it's something that is, I a lot of times I don't believe it's true, but sometimes it might be true. There might be a grain of truth in it. It's just that person really doesn't want to make a move if they don't have to. It's easier to leave you hanging if you're going to be willing to deal with it, because we look at the higher message. And this position is supposed to be more of a philosophical position, but this is a card about someone, stealing something. So it can actually be physical property. It's theft, It can be deception, and I've seen them say it could be like about, cheating. Okay. Now, if I get this card, and I'm talking about the higher message, it's really about maybe you really know that you are being deceived, but you don't want to admit it to yourself because you want this perfect scenario to play out that you have in your mind. And what's happening while you're being cheated on is you're waiting. You're waiting, waiting, waiting. So what is going to occur? Now, oh yes, I will say one thing. There could be like a job that they're dangling in front of you, and you're waiting too. The Queen of Pentacles might be doing that. And you feel like, oh my gosh, I want this thing that never seems to transpire. And you have to realize, and I think of like the Seven of Swords, is that they're stealing your time. They're stealing your energy because you're not feeling like you're in no man's land right now. Well, cross is usually Ace of Pentacles. You see that portal, that doorway, but it's made out of greenery. That is the new life, and that's what the ace represents, is the new experience. Now, this could be a new job, but it's in the challenge position. You can't get there yet. Now, why? Because you're waiting. Now, you might say to me, yeah, but I don't have a choice. I'm not in the driver's seat here. Well, what does that tell you? If you're not in the driver's seat of your own life, then what that means is that you don't have that power. You're giving away your power. And that's not really true, that you're not in the driver's seat. You just think that you're not because you're enmeshed in a certain situation. By hanging on to something, maybe it's a dream, a lie, something that is a half-truth, you prevent yourself from having a new job, from having a new business, from moving on. What's coming in is the Four of Swords. To me, this is getting your head together. And you see that there's kind of like the spiritual, there's a stained glass, the person's in the prayer position. So this is almost like reflection. But I would like to say it's combining the spiritual with the material. The number 4 is connected to Saturn, so it really is that grounding type of mentality. The swords are related to thoughts. So it's being realistic about your situation, but also kind of tuning into what your life is all about. Like, why are you here? What is the ultimate purpose? I just did Cancer's reading, and I said, I don't feel that we're just here to keep our bodies alive. So when people are just in that 3D mentality matrix, they're going to make decisions based on those things. But it's like, you know what they say, you get what you pay for? Well, you get what you vibe with. You know, if you're vibing at that lower level of consciousness because you think that that's all that there is, then you're going to have to, they say, live by the sword, die by the sword. Yeah, maybe that'll be the title of this video. It sounds like very ominous. I don't really mean physical death, but it means that you have to live at a higher level to get higher results. And it's interesting that the outcome card is the Hermit. Yes, it is your card. Yes, it is on the cover of a Led Zeppelin album, isn't it? But it's also about being contemplative. Virgo's an earth sign. It's also ruled by Mercury, so it's no wonder that a lot of Virgo people, they're like, what is pragmatic? What is it that I should do that's very practical to deal with in this particular situation? And the practical is temporary. Mind versus consciousness. The mind deals with mundane matters, and the consciousness is plugged into the all-knowing creative force that rules everything. So whatever your situation is, take it to the highest level when you're trying to solve the so-called problem, and you'll see that your perspective shifts and widens quite a bit. Okay, that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope that this resonated. I mean, I was thinking, well, this is kind of like a philosophical reading, but the full moon is in your 12th house, so it's very apropos, I think. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.